There is a new world champion in the National Football League. College hoops are heating up, and pitchers and catchers have reported. We'll break it all down coming up on the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus right now.
The final quarter begins right now.
That handsome gentleman is John Howard. The other handsome gentleman is Karthik Ben. I am Jake Garriani, and welcome to the final quarter on CBS 8 Plus. Fellas, the Philadelphia Eagles are world champions as they obliterate the Kansas City Chiefs. Your first initial thoughts on how Super Bowl 59 went?
Well, it reminded me of a lot of Super Bowls from like the 70s, early 80s, where we called them the Super Bores. The game just did not deliver, but the Super Bowl party I attended was solid, so I guess that's what counts.
Yeah, I was a little shocked by the score. I wasn't as shocked that the Eagles were to win. You know, that doesn't surprise me. They're a really good football team. They have been. The way in which they did it, I think, is what really shocked me. It kind of reminded, Seahawks versus Broncos, where the defense absolutely laid on, or even the Buccaneers versus the Chiefs. A few years ago when Brady was still with the Bucs and that defense really kept Mahomes under wrap. That's what it really felt like. And, the fact the Eagles didn't blitz all night and they got to Mahomes as many times as they did, stuff like that is what ended up being a huge shocker for me, something I just did not expect to happen.
I definitely thought that was the key to the game. The Eagles getting 4 people to rush and get to Patrick Mahomes solved all their problems. I thought Vic Fangio, if you could give a Super Bowl MVP to a coordinator, Vic Fangio deserved it. It might be a little bit of recency bias on my end, but I can't remember the last time I saw a team so well prepared to play a football game. From the jump to the end of that ball game, the Eagles absolutely dominated. They did it mostly on defense. I really thought that they were going to run the ball a lot better, but I think the Chiefs just sold out and said, hey, we're not letting 26, we're not letting Saquon Barkley beat us. So they sold out, and then the rest of the offense opened up for Philadelphia, and of course their defense just dominated this ballgame. Now we do have to go back, because that's what we love to do on this show, fellas, and see who we thought was going to win this game before the game actually took place. Let's rewind to last week and look at what our predictions were.
Of course.
I just have a very, very hard time picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's in the DNA. They've been here. They know how to get it done. Even when you think the Bills have a chance to go get them and advance to the Super Bowl themselves, the Chiefs still find a way to get it done. I don't know what it is. It's the DNA. It's the personnel they have on their team. It's Andy Reid. I really like what the Eagles put on the field. I really do think this is going to be a very close football game. The Eagles could come out and win. Am I going to pick them? No, I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, because I simply just believe it's in their DNA to get it done when it matters.
Well, I'm going to break down what Karthik says is their DNA. I'm going to break down that DNA. I think they're too experienced, too driven, and too well coached. I mean, they're experienced. I mean, the Eagles are experienced too, but I think the Chiefs are just that much more experienced. They've been here before, and they beat the Eagles 2 years ago. Too driven. I think Patrick Mahomes absolutely knows the history that can be made, winning 3 consecutive Super Bowls, something Tom Brady never did, and I think Mahomes is after that greatest of all time ledger.
You know that guy that's at the roulette table, and he just keeps betting the same number because it hasn't hit in forever?
I knew you were going to do this.
I'm going 8 because 8 hasn't hit in forever. I've been picking against the Chiefs all year. I've been wrong all year, but 8 is about to hit on this roulette table. Give me the Eagles. Boys, sometimes you just sit at that roulette table long enough to win your money back, don't you? 8 finally hit. The Eagles do win the Super Bowl, their second Super Bowl. Again, I thought they had a wonderful game plan. I don't think you guys were alone. I think most of the country expected the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. I definitely don't think anybody thought it would be the game that it turned out to be.
No, I never thought, I didn't think the Chiefs would blow out the Eagles, because every game they played this year was close. And I didn't think the Eagles would blow out the Chiefs either. It was just amazing how it came down. And again, the 4-man rush was unbelievable. Had there been one guy that had 5 sacks, maybe he's the MVP. I really think the defense was the reason the Eagles won this ball game. Hats off to Jalen Hurts for winning the MVP award. but boy, did that defense bring in some recognition that it was deserved.
I think my reasoning was that I thought it was going to be a close game, and in a close game, I don't like to pick against the Kansas City Chiefs anymore because I think I got burned on that in the regular season, flipped my view, and then they made it to the Super Bowl. I was like, all right, I'm onto something, which is the thing that everybody should do is bet on the Chiefs usually if it's a close game. I was not one of those people. I switched it up. Wasn't a close game, and the Eagles got it done, man. I don't know what else to say other than that. It was a tough look for me, that's for sure.
You're not alone. And it seems obvious to say, but it's like that's what helped the Eagles so much in this game was getting out in front big early, right? They had to keep the Chiefs throwing the ball. They were able to keep that rush with 4. And it just, I mean, Josh Sweat played out of his mind. Cooper DeJean with his first NFL pick in the Super Bowl off Patrick Mahomes for a pick 6.
On his birthday, too.
On his birthday, too. I thought Mahomes played one of the worst games I've seen him play, but again, credit that to the Philadelphia Eagles defense, and they are world champions. We'll see if they can run it back next year, but before all that, let's hear from the champions and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
You know, I think when it's over, I think that's the appropriate time to really reflect on everything. Obviously, you know, I've been able to mentally transform into this place of, you know, just trying to do whatever it takes to win and play my role in that, you know, and I know that every team is different. Every game is different. And, you know, these different moments sometimes requires a different version of yourself. And as a leader, that's something that I accepted and I submitted to because, you know, when it's all said and done for me, I won't measure my success off of any numbers of statistics or passing yards or touchdowns or anything like that. I measure it off of rings and championships.
I want to say one thing about Jalen Hurts. All right, his career path has been crazy. You go all the way back to college. He got benched in a championship game in college football for Tua Tagovailoa. Then he had to transfer out. So many people doubted him if he could be the guy that leads and leads well. Then he goes to the NFL. He gets more doubters, especially after a couple years ago when they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He kept persevering, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl MVP from going from a guy who got benched in a championship game to becoming, you know, by the voting of Super Bowl MVP, the most important player in a Super Bowl game. That's just a really cool story, man, of perseverance, and he's just a great guy based off of everything that I've seen him say in press conferences and his mentality about how he goes about stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, nothing but respect and admiration for him. An unbelievable career path, as you pointed out, and for him to be able to hoist that Lombardi trophy. Also, congrats to Nick Sirianni. 4 weeks into the season, the Eagles were 2-2. I believe everyone in Philly...
And he was yelling at fans in the crowd.
And everyone in Philly wanted him fired, and all he did was keep his head down, and it's really just the epitome of what it means to be a Philadelphia Eagle and play in that city is you really got to block out the outside noise. They got the perfect coach for it, the perfect quarterback for it, and they are the world champions. Now, teams looking to become world champions, although it's a little bit different in the NCAA tournament, isn't it? How about 2 teams here in San Diego that are trying to get into that NCAA tournament and eventually possibly be crowned, although it might be a long shot this year. The Aztecs and the Tritons both have an opportunity to make the tournament. There you see their net rankings. You guys got to be a little bit surprised to see the Tritons over the Aztecs, right? 49th and 53rd. What a year it's been for both these teams, you two.
Yeah, I can't say enough great things about UC San Diego. I've been in the market for a while now, remembering when they were a D3 team and then a D2 team, and now this is their first year postseason eligible in Division I, and here they are currently 49 in the net rankings. Remember, the net rankings are what the tournament committee uses to make the selections and the seedings. But they're getting a little bit jobbed by Joe Lusardi. Lusardi has the Aztecs as one of the last 4 teams in, and Lusardi has the Tritons as the next 4 out, meaning he has them 4 teams ahead of them, you know, being out. And then, so they're number 5 through 8 out for Mr. Lusardi. But who knows what's going to happen? A lot of games left to be played. I think the Aztecs, they need to win out and make it to the conference tournament final, and that might be the same thing for the Tritons, if not winning the Big West Conference tournament to make the NCAA tournament.
Boy, do I love UC San Diego men's basketball team, man. I've been raving about them for a few weeks now because every single time I watch them, they are so fun to watch, man. Uniwaniwa, Tate Jones, you got Tyler McGuy, Hayden Gray. All these guys are contributing in such a big way. Uniwaniwa, Tate Jones, Big West Player of the Week 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Tyler McGuy, one of the best three-point shooters in all the country. Hayden Gray leading the country in steals. These guys get up and down the court, and man, they can hit shots in an absolute flurry to turn games. That UC Irvine game the other night, which was a big one on the road to, get them to the top to the Big West standings. I was so impressed how it was tight. Tyler McGuy had just picked up his 4th foul with 17:29 to go in the second half. How does that team respond? By just drilling three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer. It was K-Pitch, it was Burke, it was Howell, it was everybody. Tate Jones even drilled a 3 in there. Such a fun team to watch. I think, they should get an at-large. If you watch them, they pass the eye test. It's not even close. You watch them, they play really good basketball. I would love to see them as an at-large if they are not able to win their conference tournament. We'll see what happens with the selection committee. Obviously, UC San Diego in their first year competing for the postseason at the Division I level, not as much name recognition, whatever anyone wants to say. I think that definitely does play into whether a team gets in or not. For San Diego State, on the other side, the reason why they're in and UC San Diego probably isn't because they've got wins over teams like Houston and Creighton, which at the end of the day will stick with them through the rest of the year. Those things that they were able to pick up in the non-conference continue to help them. For San Diego State, this next stretch of games is just absolutely imperative. They got Boise State coming up within 3 of their next 4 games. They got at Utah State. They got New Mexico. Those are the 3 other top teams in the Mountain West Conference that they've got coming up. They got to pick up at least, I think, 2 of those 3 to really try and help them in solidifying and making as an at-large bid. Then, of course, you have the Mountain West Conference tournament. But I don't know, man. Once again, we saw San Diego State give a scare down 17 to San Jose State, and they had to come charging back. It's just not a team that I see play consistently for 2 halves on any given night, no matter who they're playing. And I think that's a really scary thing as we're coming down to crunch time of making your statement for getting quality wins, avoiding bad losses as March is getting closer and closer. San Diego State, big question mark. I love UC San Diego.
Well, you left me a lot to say there, and I got to add my part. No, it's a great point on both of what you guys said there. And one thing I just want to hammer home that John mentioned is just how impressive it is that UCSD is at this point already. Eric Olin has been there for a long time, and already he has gotten this team to the conversation of the NCAA tournament. Very well may get them in. I'm really rooting for both of these teams to get it. It would be awesome for San Diego to have 2 different representatives in the NCAA tournament. To your point, though, Karthik, Aztecs do scare you a bit. Can't be falling behind, 17-plus points and then going on these huge runs. Eventually, you feel like that might bite you. But also, Brian Dutcher, I just don't doubt his teams. He always seems to get them in the right place at the right time. Can't wait to see how that plays out for both of these teams. But just that we're able to have this conversation about 2 teams possibly here in San Diego being in the NCAA tournament is fantastic. What a great time to be a basketball fan here in America's finest city. Also, if you're a baseball fan, it's a good time to be here in America's finest city. Pitchers and catchers reporting today. It's like Christmas Day, fellas. How do you feel about baseball officially being back for the Padres?
Karthik, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's here, and we got question marks for them. We were talking about question marks with San Diego State pitchers and catchers reporting, and I know there's question marks of, who's going to fill that last starter in the pitching rotation. What is the catcher position going to look like now that Kyle Higashioka is gone? Can guys like Campusano, Diaz, or, is somebody else going to really kind of step up into the fray to really help them at that catcher position? These are kind of the big question marks heading into the season, and it's not all going to get solved now before the full team workouts start on February 17th, but we'll see. I mean, this is it. This is the beginning of the year, and the Padres have a lot to put together.
And John, you're like one of the veteran players we get to ask every year. Are you still excited that baseball is coming back? What spring training is this for you? And are you still excited that baseball is coming back?
Well, I'm always excited about baseball coming back. I started here at CBS 8 in 1997, so we're not quite 30 years. But I think what this offseason has taught us with all of the additions that the ridiculous Dodgers have made, or wait a minute, it should be the ridiculous additions the Dodgers have made, and the things that the Padres were unable to do, baseball needs to do something about the spending that goes on, because It's just so clear the Dodgers are expected to win 110, 120 games, and really the season's going to be dwindled down to, can the wild card teams in the National League be playing their best baseball in September? And you hope that the Padres will be one of those wild card teams, and you hope they'll be playing their best baseball in September. But that's what the Padres were doing last year. They were playing great baseball late going into the playoffs. The Padres were the team nobody wanted to play. They get in, and then they get shut out for 24 straight innings, and the Dodgers go on to win the World Series. So a lot of baseball to be played between now and September and October, but the offseason was quite frustrating for me as a Padres fan to just see the Dodgers continue to stack the personnel while the Padres go back to the mode of 5 to 20 years ago, snipping the purse strings and playing budget baseball.
And I think you're not the only Padre fan that's frustrated by the offseason, but the kind of drum I've been beating a bunch here is like, this is still going to be a very good team. They're still going to have a $200 million payroll. It's not exactly like they're like, all of a sudden we're making moves to completely save money and we're just trading contracts away. Like, this team is still trying. I think they're just trying to figure out exactly what direction they're headed. Again, they're still going to have a big, big payroll, and they still got some big-time players on this team. So I think the players they lost weren't huge surprises. Yes, everybody loved Profar. Were they going to pay him $42 million? No. Were they going to pay Kyle Higashioka $6.5 million or whatever he got for the Rangers? Probably not, because he had a really hot 3 months. Is that worth signing a guy to another year where you're going to have to overpay? It's something Preller has done well at times. It's something where, so far, the Xander Bogaerts deal has not been well, but he's going to have to figure it out. He did make a couple of additions over the recent days, bringing in 2 outfielders in Connor Joe, a local guy, San Diegan, and Jason Hayward, a guy who's won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs. Probably see a platoon out there. We'll see what they do. But here is manager Mike Schilt talking about the excitement of spring training and baseball being back and the 2 outfielders I just mentioned.
I mean, it's like one of the best days of the year, right? It's hard to quantify the best, but it's in the top 5 pitchers and catchers. Here we are. People talk about the off season when the pitchers catch report. Well, here we are. We're reporting and we're getting after it. So it's an exciting day. Some history with Jason. I mean, listen, the guy's a winner. Clearly won a World Series with the Cubs. Been, on a lot of postseason teams in his career. Virtually every year he's in the postseason. So you're talking about a winning player. I was with him in St. Louis in 15. Came up at the end of that year, and he's just, he's a proven guy, a real pro, and he's clearly going to get the opportunity to go play and take the opportunity in left field that we have. And he's excited to be here, and we're excited to have him. So it's a really good addition, especially this late in the offseason. And then Connor Joe, local kid that has been able to play all over the field. So, he'll be in that mix a little bit as well, but he also has played first base, and, we do have more of a DH spot open as well. So, there's multiple different paths for Connor, and again, I'm really excited. I won't put words in his mouth clearly, but, a guy that, homegrown guy that's going to be able to have some home games. So, plus makeup, plays the game right, and it'll be a good addition.
It's cool to see a hometown kid definitely playing for the Padres. I think one question also that, is not being addressed, like, you see all the Dodgers, they're making the moves and they're getting all these guys. Other than the Padres not keeping up with the Joneses for whatever you're like in the Dodgers, I think one question that we ask, like from the end of last season to the beginning of this year with the roster currently composed, is that are the Padres worse, like roster-wise going into the season?
I mean, that's honestly what I've kind of been saying leading up to this is, like, think back to last year when we didn't know who was going to play center field for the Padres. We did not know who was going to play left field. Almost the exact same situation where you brought in a veteran guy on $1 million deal, a.k.a. Profar last year, Jason Hayward this year, and I'm not saying Jason Hayward's going to have Profar's year, but those questions were still there. So I think it's easy to talk in the offseason. It's our jobs, it's every fan's job to say this is how the season's going to go because this, and this happened, and that's how the season's going to go for LA because they did this, and this. But again, the beauty of baseball is you got to go out there, you play the games. It sounds so cliche, but I don't know if we know what we have in this team until we see it out there on the diamond, until we start seeing games being played with this roster that I still think has a lot of really good pieces on it, John.
It's got a lot of good pieces, but I think it's less of a roster than it was when the season ended. Jurickson Profar had an all-star season. He was on the all-star team. He also had that $1 million smile, and I think he kept things loose in the clubhouse. Also, Ha-Seong Kim, another clubhouse favorite, to lose him is a tough one. So those 2 guys missing, I think they're hard to replace, and there was good production defensively and offensively out of those guys.
I think definitely, but like Profar had like kind of like a breakout year when he had his all-star season last year. Would he have replicated? Would have been worth the money that you would have paid? I think there's like, in those kind of questions, I'm kind of what like Jake's what he's saying. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. It looks bad because it's like you're giving up players of what was deemed an overall successful season other than the very end when they go out all those shutout innings and kind of, fall flat as the Dodgers moved on. But I think pump the brakes. Just kind of wait and see. Titles aren't decided on paper every single season. If they were, the Dodgers and Yankees would win every single year, and that's not what happens. So pump the brakes. We'll see kind of what all happens here with the Padres roster, and we move on from there.
To your point real quick, John, I think replacing the VAR, as we like to call it, the vibes above replacement, those clubhouse guys may be challenging, but that's where other people are going to have to step up and see who can bring the good vibes into that clubhouse. That's one thing Mike Shildt seems to be great at, creating a nice atmosphere in those clubhouses, a place where guys get to be themselves. And, who knows how long that lasts, but it feels like that's something he did really well last year. Let's finish up on golf here. Genesis Invitational in town, of course, due to the wildfires in Los Angeles, but exciting for San Diego to have such a great event. And what great weather we got to welcome everyone to with. It's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. John, you've already been out to Torrey this week. Your initial thoughts on the Genesis being here and how the weather may play in?
Well, I think it's going to be a slow tournament to be played. This is a course that's already a long course. It's going to play even longer with the fairways wet and the greens wet as well. Colin Morikawa might be, an emotional favorite. He spent some time with the media this week talking about being the Angelino that he is and how he loves being from Los Angeles. And he appreciates how the LA community really united in the wake of those fires and during those fires. So perhaps he might be, a little bit more subconsciously motivated to get a victory. Scotty Scheffler, obviously a favorite to win. He's got to be another guy to look at who might win the Genesis Invitational here.
I'm interested to see the guys that played just in the Farmers Insurance Open and now are back. Obviously, the playing conditions are going to be a little different, but only a couple weeks removed. You saw the course. You played several rounds on it, plus you had all your practice time on the course. Does that benefit guys like Oberg or Matsuyama? I want to see what those guys are able to do having just played the course, if that helps them at all over the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of huge names in this one. We thought for a little bit we were going to have Tiger in it. He was announced that he was going to play, but of course, stepping back to take some time, mourning the loss of his mother. And real quick, to add on to your point, John, 7,700 yards this course, the longest on the PGA Tour. The wind of the rain is only going to make it more challenging. And here is your guy, Colin, talking about the difficulties at Torrey.
With the forecast, the weather, the rain, it's going to play really tough. It's going to play long. It's going to play, where fairways matter a lot. I don't think you can really overpower a golf course this long when the rough is that big. So fairways are going to be important. This Torrey Pines is already a very, very difficult golf course. So I look forward to that and just have a challenge in front of us.
It will be a challenge. And to what Karthik said earlier, it'll be very intriguing to see how the guys who played here just 2-3 weeks ago will play in these conditions. And same course, but I think the weather will absolutely spit out different results for those guys that played both in the Farmers and that are also playing in the Genesis.
And this will only be on the South Course. They played North Course and South Course over at Farmers Insurance, so just South Course. We'll see how it goes. The tougher course, plus tough conditions with the weather.
Some of those golfers get the luxury of picking which weeks they perform, which weeks they're out there working. Not us. We're here every week, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week on the final quarter on CBS 8+. Thank you, as always, for joining us, and congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions. I think certain people around the country share my sentiments.
They do.
Maybe not.
Eagles fans.
Have a great week.